You know, it just occurred to me that I haven't been using this YouTube channel of mine to actually promote stuff that I put out, which is like usually what people do to on their YouTube channels. I never have advertisements for my stuff. So I decided I'm going to do a video showing the latest issue of Ditkomania. And this came out in September with a cover by the late Batten Lash. Um, and this was a long time coming. The issue is available. It's just printed on a photocopier, so it's nothing really fancy, but that's how it's historically always been with Ditkomania. And we'll look at some earlier issues of Ditkomania here too as well. But anyways, I printed it up in September. I printed up 250 copies. I have around 50 copies left. And I'll put ordering info in the description. Basically, it's like $3.50, post-paid. That's including the postage in the U.S. And I just mail it in like a regular manila envelope. And it's nothing fancy. And so $3.50 in the U.S. will get you this issue. In Canada, I think it's like $4 or something, and everywhere else in the world, it's like $5.50. Because I have to make a special trip to the post office to do outside the U.S. Anyway, so I'll have a description and below. You can always Google it. Basically, if you want, just PayPal me that amount at robimes@yahoo.com. Like I said, but I'll have a description to a web page that has the info printed out. Like I said, I only have 50 copies left. All my previous issues of Ditkomania are sold out. And so, eventually this one will sell out too. So if you're watching this at a later date, I'm recording this on December 3rd, 2022. If you're watching this, years later, this may already be gone. So if you're interested, if you're a fan of Steve Ditko, and basically, if you just want to read about Steve Ditko, because a lot of this is text. There's reviews. There's an article by Will Murray about Squirrel Girl, which he created, a character that Ditko drew in the early 90s. Various articles about topics. This is, just like I said, just the current issue. This was an article by Thomas Simmons, where he had corresponded with Ditko briefly, and so he decided in this to break up their correspondence into sort of like an interview format. So you see his his part of the discussion, and then Ditko interjecting, saying, well, what about that? And then there's some examples from Ditko's letters to him. And then there's always the letter page too, one of my favorite bits of the issue. So anyways, if you're interested in Ditkomania, that's the latest issue, numbers 97. I thought very quickly we should take a look at some of the earlier issues of Ditkomania. This one is issue number 14. This actually isn't my copy. This is borrowed from artist Larry Blake. And I think this may be like the oldest one I have. But back then, the publisher of Ditkomania was a man named Bill Hall. And this is from the 1980s. Set that aside. Now, these are ones that I actually own. This is number 15, fall 1985. Number 16, winter 1985. And you should see Ditkomania was already a member of the UFO co-op, which it currently still is. Now, Bill Hall, one complaint I had was he wasn't always that good at putting the issue numbers on the cover. So this one is actually number 17, but there's no issue number on the cover. Same with this one. Issue number 18, 1986. Issue number 19, which was really cool Watchmen-inspired cover by Brian Waters, autumn 1986, back when Watchmen was a current comic. And so on. So some of the people that contributed to Ditkomania back then in the 80s, they still contributed to it today. In fact, I had showed the letter page, and there was a letter from Christopher Melchert, and commenting on the most recent issue. Rodney Schrader as well, and he had a letter in there as well, and both of them have, contributed to Ditkomania since its earliest days. In fact, Christopher Melchert was in the first issue. Issue number 23. Issue number 24. This is one of my favorite issues because it has a chronology of Ditko's career taken from a interview that he did in the 1960s. And then here is another interview with Ditko from the 1960s. Number 25. Number 26. I actually have 2 copies of that. I was going to make second printings of this issue at some point. Never did. This is issue number 27. Now, this is the number 32. This is the very first issue of Ditkomania that I ever received in the mail from Bill Hall. And he has an article there by Bill Shelley, and an article by Rodney Schrader about Ditko's objectivist beliefs. And I was amazed because I was, as soon as I got this in 1992, I think it was around August 92 is when I received this in the mail. I was like, wow, I found a place where people share my love of Ditko. Not just Spider-Man, not just Doctor Strange, but characters like the Fly, Mr. A, and so forth. I was like, wow, this is great. So my first issue, actually, these are my second printings that I made. So in 2008, I got permission from Bill Hall to make second printings of a lot of issues. I think I made about 100 copies of each one. They have thicker covers. And so this was my first contribution to Ditkomania, which came out in October 1992. Has a little comic strip there. And then an article about cheap boxes and finding Ditko comics in there. So anyways, this is a second printing that I made. Again, though, all my second printings are out of stock. So they're all sold out. But I kept one of each for myself. So anyways, in the mid-90s, he started doing color covers. And at some point, I wanted to do second printings of these. That's why I removed the staples. But I never did. This one also, the staples are removed. And another great color cover by Brian Waters, the Charlton years, with the Ditko Star Wars card. And another Rodney Schrader article, which is of interest. Again, I wanted to make second printings of those, never did. Also wanted to make a second printing of this one, never did. I drew that cover. I only drew 2 covers for Ditkomania during the time Bill Hall edited the series. And this is issue number 45, which came out in 1995. Reprints of Bernie Bubna's article. In fact, I also have an article in there as well. I believe I have a PDF of that on the website that I'll have a link to below. And then this is issue number 50, which reprints Christopher Melchert's article from issue number 1 and 2, I believe, of Ditkomania. That came out in 1983. All right. So with issue number 63 in October 1999, Bill Hall, that was the last issue Bill Hall did, in issue number 63. So a couple of years later, I said, hey, do you want to revive Ditkomania again? Or I think I asked him if he had any more back issues. And he said no. And then finally in 2008, early 2008, I was looking over my issues, and I was like, wow, this was a great fanzine. Why is it still being published? So I asked him if he had any plans to republish Ditkomania, start it up again. He said no. And then I thought about it. The last thing I really wanted to do was start a fanzine, because it's sort of a thankless task. Really, it's a lot of work, a lot of money, and because you have to print up these things ahead of time. I spent like probably $400 or so just to print the latest issue, believe it or not, to print 250 issues. And it's a lot of work having to fold and staple all that. I do it all myself. Of course, there's lots of contributors and stuff too that, without them, this wouldn't have been gotten done. But anyways, I got permission from Bill Hall. So in spring 2008, I think it was March 2008 actually, I started Ditkomania up again. And I talked about the second printings. I wanted to make second printings of the issues. So there was an article by Bill Hall, a review of Jonathan Ross's BBC documentary about Ditko, Ditko in Your Future column. And then I did a comic strip. Because back then, Ditkomania had a lot of like fan strips, and I really liked that. Then there was a big article about Speedball, which I had actually written this for Bill Hall back in the 90s. But then I decided to expand it, and so that's what this is all about. And then there's another article about me, by me. So most of this, and there's a back cover by me. So most of this first issue, I drew that cover as well. Most of this first issue of mine was by me. But luckily, since I'm not the best artist, other people started contributing. There's a Martin Herchak cover and so on. So back cover. And there was another of my attempts at a comic strip. So that's issue number 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, number 70, number 71, number 72, number 73. Fred Hembeck sent me this cover. I still have the original artwork to it. I got it in the mail, like unexpectedly. He didn't tell me he was sending me this. And it was like, wow. So, number 74. And some of these I've found pretty useful to refer to myself, because they would have some articles or indexes. This is a cover Dave Sim drew, especially for the magazine. Like this one, for example, number 78, has an article about Ditko's DC mystery stories. So it sort of reviews every single thing that Ditko did in the 1970s for DC that was not superhero related. Number 79. This one, number 80, is also useful because it's all about Ditko's work at Marvel in the 1980s, which includes an alternate version of his Machine Man cover. And I put together this index of all Ditko's 1980s Marvel work. And I find it useful to refer to if you want, just to take a quick look at what he did during that period. Issue number 81, issue number 82, issue number 83. So by this point, it was 2011. Issue number 84, 85. Fantastic cover by Brian Frank Zach. Number 86. Another Bat and Lash cover, number 87. He also did the back cover. Number 88, about Ditko Around the World. It was a Japanese Spider-Man reprint. Number 89. Number 90, Ron France Remembers. It's basically his memories of working with Ditko. And my first time I printed a color cover, this is by Javier Hernandez, and then a back cover by Tom Ahern. This is one of my all-time favorite issues that I did. Again, it has another Speedball article in it that I wrote, but this one was much more researched. It goes much into detail about the story, for example, that was planned for Speedball number 11, which was never published. This is taken from an issue of Marvel Age. So now we can see what story was supposed to be in issue number 11. And we have issue number 92 and issue number 93, another color cover. This one by Jim McPherson, and this one by Darren Goodhart. Some great Great stuff here, if I say so myself. But again, I'm complimenting them. It was basically, I was just printing it. 94, number 95, and then this one, number 96. Again, another color cover by back cover by Jim McPherson, front cover by Darren Goodhart. And this one was the most recent one for a long time. It came out in July 2018, and this came out right after Steve Ditko died. And I had been planning it for a long time, but I think that I just hadn't gotten around to printing the issue. I was kind of intimidated at printing this color cover. It was, you know, it was a thicker issue. It was going to be a process, you know, it was going to take a lot of money up front. But when Ditko died, I was like, I got to print this issue, you know. So this was the most recent issue in 2018 until, like I said, number 97 just came out. I'll put these back in order so they're not all mixed up. There's another cool little back cover. Number 97 is available. I've got about 50 copies left. Like I said, all these issues that you're seeing here are all sold out. I no longer have any of them. I think I have like one copy left of number 96, the previous issue. I have it up on eBay, actually. But, so all those are sold out. If you want to get them now, you're going to have to hunt places like eBay and the secondary market stuff. Like, they're not available for me. But right now, the current issue is available for me, number 97. Get it while you can. It's back cover by Tom Ahern. And thanks for watching. And like I said, I have a description in the... I have ordering info in the description below. Thanks for watching.